Hi, everybody. This is Gary Dean with Sentiment Timing, and this is our technical video report for Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. I'm not going to lie to you, man. President Trump is making it very difficult to trade these markets. Everything looked fantastic today. It was probably going to be one of our biggest days that we were going to have. Everything was working as planned. And the NVIDIA calls that I was in, we were up a lot on it. And what I decided to do is simply take the initial investment off and let the other ones run because I had time on it. And I did that with QBTS as well as the RGTI. And from there, I actually took a position where I was selling put premium, but at the time, we were all the way up here at 52.47, and I sold the 51.30s, or the 51.30, and bought the 51.20s. I believe that's it. It was something like that. But in any case, I ended up, all the call positions I had to close them. Made a profit on them, and the money that I put in for the where I sold the put premium, that pretty much washed away all the gains, and we had a minor win for the day, 24.70. But to me, it's a loss because when you're up $18,000-$19,000 and you walk away with that. It's not a good day in my eyes, and I'm not too happy with it. But I really didn't see this, an additional 104% tariff on China being thrown out today. And the thing that I'm a little kind of frustrated at President Trump for is just give the market a time to digest some of this stuff. They were getting on board because we had countries that were coming up and saying they want to make deals with this. And the market gets behind him, and he slaps it right back down again. And I'm not really quite sure what his thought process is, but this one I was not really too happy with because he could have let this thing go and not done anything, and we probably would have been all the way up to this level. Now, if he did something with the China thing, then we got a long ways down to take out these lows, but. Unfortunately, he did it, and we had the S&P that was up 180 points that was down as much as 120. And, those types of moves are just really, really hard to manage. But the thing is that I'm getting nervous with is, some of these, the big boys are going to start getting frustrated saying, listen, man, I bought into everything you're saying, and, you just cost us, $25 billion by saying something like that. So, what's going to happen is the longer this goes on with this, he's going to start losing faith in some of, the big boys that are making these trading decisions. So, I know what he's doing. I'm not, I don't think he should have done what he did today, but I do understand his rhyme and reason on everything. But he just, we can't get into a trade war. If that happens, if we see China come and retaliate and say, all right, now we're doing 100% on you guys, then that's where things start to get ugly. And I didn't, I really never thought it was going to come to that point with it, where I just thought it was going to be, hey, let's come to a mutual agreement, get these tariffs down to zero on each side, and that's it. But right now, it definitely was a little bit frustrating today. So anyway, do I still think the lows are in? Maybe. And the only thing, if you remember what I put in I'm not sure if it was last night's report or this morning or today's, but I said, the one reason why I'm not pounding the table that these are the lows is we don't have any buy signals on the 60-minute chart. So if we have to come down and take these out, most likely we'd be in a gap down. And really what I would be anticipating would be that we're going to come down and test the 47.41. That would be a little bit of a lower low, but it would find the 200-week moving average, and if it goes below that, then we're looking down at the 46.19 level. So these are really the areas, because if they lose it, now we're going to be all the way down to 40.50. So if if we come down and let's say touch this level and then pop back up, yeah, I'll be feeling a little more confident. But, like I said, this market's pretty emotional right now. And, him barking about these, tariffs that are 100%. I mean, if they last longer than 2 months, it's a pretty big increase in what the cost of our goods are going to be, and that's not going to be a good thing. And I think he's going to have a rough time on the PR level trying to explain what he's doing long term, because people are going to start feeling it in their pocketbooks, and from there things are not going to go well for him. So hopefully this all gets straightened out. But anyway, so on the daily chart, you can see we have, we have some bullish divergences that are barely there. This candle kills me. I was really anticipating at a bare minimum coming up to the 5,400 to close this gap, and then maybe coming down and doing some backing and filling. And if they got above that, then I was looking at the 5,500 and then closing the gap at the 5,570. So now if this is not going to be the low, we got to keep an eye on the 47.41 and then down at the 4,500. In between this area here is critical, because now we're going all the way down into the 40.50 level, and that's going to be painful for a lot of people. And as I said, I think people will start throwing in the towel on him in these tariff talks and that he's going to be doing right now, and they're going to say, hey, I'm going to sell first and ask questions later. Right now, that has not happened with the big boys, and we're going to be attracting money from overseas, because they're going to be coming to the healthiest market there is, which is us. And especially when you have Europe and Canada and all the other countries that are going to be cratering with us, which is not a good thing. But the money would flow into our economy and our stock market and the dollar and real estate. So that's what would happen. But like I said, I don't think anybody wants it to come to that part. So tomorrow, like I said, if we open up down, we really just got to keep an eye on the lows that we made, 48.21, and then down at the 47.41. If that's lost, then we're going all the way down to the 4,500. What do the bulls have to do? Well, right now they got to get it above the highs that they made today. Let's just go to a 15-minute chart. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you could say that we have the first thing they got to do is get above the 5,100 level. If they do that, then they should have a clear shot back up to this 52.66 are the highs that we made today. If they can get above it, you can see we have the resistance right at the 53.25, and then this pivot right here at the 5,400. So downside, like I said, it's going to be the 48.33, and then down at that 47.41 level that I was just showing. So let's just see what plays out tomorrow. Have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you guys in the morning.